So this binding I'm giving name as DURGASOFT services binding. So this is the name I am giving for my to bind my services with messages. So this contain 3 operations: get, courses, and contain one more operation, get faculty info, and it have one more service, one more operation, get fee info. So these 3 operations I am using in DURGASOFT services. So it contains input. For this method, this is the input, this is the output. So I am configuring input and output for these operations, and this is input, and I am adding input and output for get faculty info, and for get fee info also I am adding input and output. Okay, so these 3, for these 3 operation I am adding input and output, and I will add fault messages also. If something went wrong, this fault message will display. So I will add fault messages for this as well. And get fees info, I will add fault messages. Okay, so this is how I configured my binding. So for input, add body. So input soap body we have to pass, as I told, soap contain soap envelope, soap body, soap header. Okay, so I have to pass soap body as a request as an input to my get sources information for get sources operation. In the same way, I will add body, soap body. Soap body I will send as a response or as an output to get courses operation. And faults also I am going to displaying in soap body only. So that is how I use body tag for my input, output and fault. Same like for get faculty info also. So I will send the data in soap body, and I will send the input in soap body, and I will get the response in soap body, and I will get the fault message in also in fault is there, so this fault tag I am using it. So soap contain header, body and fault. So fault I will add in fault section. So I am removing this one and I am displaying in fault. In the same way for get fee info also I am going to adding soap body. So request I am going to sending through body, soap body, and output I am getting through soap body, and fault I am getting through fault messages. So this is how I define bindings. Now let's see, add service we configured, messages we configured, port type we configured, bindings we configured. types, messages, services and bindings. Port type we didn't configure. So port type. So this name I am giving name as Durgasoft host. So here I am adding the operations. So where I configure, so in this host what and all services we have to use in this host. So get course details, add operation, get faculty details, get fee details. So this is how I specified my WSDL file. Now let's see how WSDL looks like. So this is how I have my WSDL. So I am saving this one as DurgaSoft services.wisdom. So this is how I am saving my WSDL. So this is the specification we can create for web services development. Now let's see how this WSDL, if we add this WSDL in SOAP UI, file new SOAP project, WSDL file, C drive, DurgaSoft web services. So this WSDL having some errors while importing it, so we have to modify it. So this is how I can create the WSDL. So in DurgaSoft services, so I define the types course, faculty and fee. So for course content course ID, course name, category. Faculty content faculty ID, faculty name, address. Fee contain amount. So and I am defining messages. So because the request and response in the form of messages, so I have to create messages. So that's why I created course request message and course response message, as well as faculty request message, faculty response message, fee request message, fee response message. So these messages I created for my DurgaSoft training services or DurgaSoft services. So these messages contain course content that is type integer type. So this course request message is integer type. So that is how I configured the property for request message. In the same way, course response message, it is contain course response, it is type of course. So that message response I am getting of type course type. Okay, so I pass the course ID as an integer and I will get the course response of type course type. In the same way, faculty request message, faculty response message. So these two messages I configured. So for faculty request I am taking as type integer. So because when for my operation I will pass in the request only integer. I will get the that faculty information, name, age and address information, whatever faculty ID, name, address. So that information I will get it in response. So that response type I am defining as faculty. Means I will get the, if I pass the faculty ID, I will get the faculty information, his ID, name and address. So the type of response is faculty type. In the same way, fee request message. So I will pass the ID and I will get the fee response. So that is how I configured. So there are some IDs for fees. So if I pass the ID of a fee, I will get the what is the amount corresponding to that ID. So that is how I configure. So this type I am taking as integer and fee response I am taking as fee type. So response I will get as a fee type. In the same way I configured port type. So port type contains the list of operations what we are going to using. So in code I'm using the operations get course details, get faculty details, get fee details. So for this input, output, faculty, input is, so for this input I am giving course request message. So this operation will take the course request message as a input. Output I will get as a course output message. Fault message I didn't specify anything. In the same way, get faculty details input is faculty request message. Faculty request message is input of my get faculty details operation, and output is get faculty response message is my response or it's my output of get faculty details operation. In the same way, fee details. So the request is fee request message is input and output is fee response message is my output. So that is how I configured here. So message is fee request message for my input. For get fee details input is fee request message. So that is how I configured my operations. Next one is binding. So binding the operations with the service. So I bind DURGASOFT host with port type. So my binding I am the type is DURGASOFT host. So this DURGASOFT host whatever it contain, DURGASOFT host, this is port type. So I configured this port type to my binding. So everything it will come inside this binding. So next, so the binding contain the port type, this is port type and the operations. So binding contain port type and operations. Okay, so I configured the port type. DURGASOFT host is my port type, so I configured that one. And operations, get course details. So in the port type whatever the names I am giving, same operations again I have to define here. Get course details, get faculty details, get fee details. For get course details, this is the input, body, output, body, fault message, fault. So this is how I configured in binding with port and operations. Okay, so this binding contain port as well as operations. Next one is service. So this service, it will contain service information and it will it will point to the binding of the service. So it is each and everything is interrelated. So service, it will refer the binding it will refer the port type it will refer the operations, on that operations it will refer the messages it will refer the types. So that is how this is the hierarchy we have to follow while creating a WSDL. Now this is my WSDL. Now I am going to using this WSDL. Now this is my WSDL. This I am going to saving as DURGASOFT services.WSDL. Now I will import this WSDL in my SOAP UI, whether my services client can able to access or not. So now this is inside C drive web services. Now I will import now I will import that WSDL file. New SOAP project, browse C drive web services. So DURGASOFT service.WSDL. Now let's see. Get course details, get faculty details, get fee details. So this get course details request, if you see, so this is the request, and get faculty details, this is the request, and get fee details, this is the request. This is how we can see. Fee request, it is an integer type. I will pass some 100 and I will get the, I don't have services because I didn't get anything, because I didn't implement the services. I created just WSDL. So that specification I defined. I didn't implemented the services. So now using this WSDL, I can create my services. Then this guy, this SOAP UI client, he can access it. He can access these services. If I develop the web services, then only this guy can able to access the services. Then only he get the responses. Okay, so as of now I created the specification. Now I need a implementation for these web services. So now in order to implement these web services, I can go for .NET, I can go for Java, I can go for SAP, whatever the system I can go for it. Okay, so that's it.